Today we will start with looking at a session on planning. What you see in front of you is the same first screen that you see when you get into your SMP. When I talk about planning, what I mean is that before you decide what you're going to do for a month or what you're going to earn or you're going to achieve as your target for a given period of time, you need to plan out the clients you're going to meet, what are you going to sell to them, how are you going to manage the entire thing. However, when we look at planning, we can look at planning in two different ways. We can look at a long-term planning and we can look at the planning going on a month-to-month basis. It makes a lot of sense to start planning on a long-term basis, looking at what you need to achieve in the given year. And after that, plan on a month-to-month basis, going in accordance with the 6 months plan that you have done. There is a new facility which has been added on to your SMP, which gives you the facility to plan on a 6 monthly basis and then also to use the same data and use the data to plan on month to month. So if I look at what you have on the screen right now, you have the same set of icons or the same set of fields, file, data, planning, edit, etc. Go into planning and here you will see a difference now. The difference that you will see is that earlier in planning you only had monthly planning, and now in planning you will have monthly planning, plan self, and 6 monthly planning, which has 3 different options. The first option is plan self. Plan self is the planning for the 6 months for all people who are into business development, whatever the designation be. The other two, plan self-approval and plan for new joinees, is meant for supervisors or managers who are looking at the plans of their juniors. If you look at it, 6 monthly planning would mean that the year has been divided into 2 parts. One, which starts from April, goes on to September. The second, which starts from October and goes on till March. Today, as we stand, we are into the October-March part of it. Let's start with the first one, that is plan self. So when I click on plan self, I get this particular screen that you can see. Here you can see monthly call planner from October to March, and you have the 6 months mentioned below that. Now what am I supposed to feed here? I'm supposed to feed in the total number of calls that I'm going to do each of the months which is mentioned. As we are aware, we need to do at least 8 calls a day for 25 days given in an ideal situation. So I should be doing at least 200 calls in a month. So what I do here is I mention 200. November month also I say I will do at least 200 calls. In the month of December, I know I will be going out on a leave. I have taken 10 days leave from my boss. So I cannot do 200 calls. I'll do about 130 calls. January, I'm back from my leave. I will do 200 calls. February, again, I will do 200. And in the month of March, I have a wedding in the family and therefore I will need to take 3-4 days off. I'll do 175 calls. After having finished this, I need to save this data. So to save this data, I cannot press next because next will mean going to the next screen without saving this data. I'll need to press save and next. On pressing save and next, this data, if you can look at the call summary here, is now visible to you in the summary below. Whenever you want to look at something that you have just finished, you can always press back and go into it. As of now, let's move forward. We've finished doing the monthly call planning. That means I've mentioned the total number of calls that I'm going to do. Let's go to the next stage. So what I have here is call planning MOP for the month October to March. To see the names clearly, I can move my cursor such that the field becomes longer and I can see the names. Now, as we know that these are my month opening prospects, I have the names of all the clients which were there in the beginning of October, who are my month opening prospects. And now I need to work out as to how am I going to meet them in the next given 6 months. Each case will have to be taken on differently. For example, you've looked at Magnon Solutions. Magnon Solution, the status is hot. That means there are more chances of it closing fast, and you say that you will be planning at least 2 calls here in the month of October, and you presume that by the month of November you should be able to close it and the collection should be complete in the month of December. Let's look at Master Capital Services. Similar case here. You've done one good presentation, but you know you may need to do more presentations, and you will be able to close this also by December. Now, when I look at CBSEG, a similar case where you have the client has shown a lot of interest, but you still need to do a lot of presentation, etc. So you take 4, 2, let's say 1 and 1. So it goes up to the month of January. However, when I look at Orient Electric, they have shown interest, but you know that the managers will not be available in the month of October. They have said whatever purchases they will do will only be in the month of November and not before that. So you do not plan anything for Orient Electric. You start off from here. So it is 2 calls here, 3 calls here, 1 call here and 1 call here. So November, December, January, February is what we've decided. You'll need to go through the complete list of MOP that is there and feed in the information or the number of calls you're going to make month on month for that particular case. Please remember that you need to study the case before you actually feed in the data. Don't feed it in arbitrarily. Now that we have entered the call planning MOP, let us save and move on. I have done save and next. On doing save and next, my data gets saved. After it gets saved, I come to the next screen. I don't need to go back again because I can see my MOP data being entered here also. Let's move on to call planning closed customer. Now, when we talk about closed customers, there are 2 different types of closed customers I may have. One is the customer that I have closed myself. The second is the customer who came to me because I have taken on this territory. Somebody else must have closed that customer and I have got that person in my list because the territory belongs to me. So let's look at what I'm going to do. I have already sold some product to this particular client. I need to go and position new products to this client. We have a basket of 400 products. There is so much that I can tell this client. So let's start. I had earlier, let's assume I had sold some products to Prism Offset. So I'm adding more to Prism Offset by going and meeting them and saying, okay, in the month of October, I will go and present myself to them once again and position a particular product. In the month of November, I will actually start presenting the solution. Month of December, I assume I should be able to complete the negotiation. By month of January, I should have closed the case. Let's go to Vishnu Products. I know Fashion Maker International has said they do not want anything immediately. Collection has still continuing here. I still need to do the collection here. And therefore, I will not go to them right now. But Vishnu Products has shown interest earlier also. I'm going back to them again. Here I'm saying I will go and present my product. I will go and do the negotiation and I will close the case by December. However, let us look at Noida Fabcon. In Noida Fabcon, we had dropped the case earlier. For whatever reason, the reason probably had been, let's take an example, that the client was not very keen on purchasing anything at that moment of time. But now you have a product which totally suits the need of the client. Why don't we go back and present something new to him? So we do a cursory first call, which is your PR call. Then we go and do other calls, which could be your, let's say, presentation calls, positioning the product. We start talking in terms of negotiation and maybe closing the case here. Having done so many, you can see that we need to go through the complete list of closed cases that I have. Here is the complete list of closed cases. I need to go through each one of them and then feed in when am I going to meet them as months keep on moving. I have to do this exercise right now. After having fed the data, I will save and move to next. So save and next is what I press. Now we've got our data saved here. You can see all the closed information data that we had fed for closed customers has already been accumulated in the summary, and we can move on to the next. So when we go to the next, what we should see is closed customers in my territory. Now these are those closed customers as we had discussed earlier. of the people who somebody else had closed, or the clients or customers that somebody else had closed, but they are there in my territory. The data that we are seeing for Sandeep Singh does not have any such closed customers. However, the working will be absolutely the same. That means what you will see is a screen like the one which I'm showing you. On top here, instead of seeing closed customers, you will see closed customers in my territory. You will need to feed in, after studying their CPS, the information as to how many calls will you make to each one of your closed customers of the territory for the given months between October and March. Having done that, you will save and next and move on to the next. That means if I look at this screen, I will have fed in all the data here and then pressed save and next to move to the next. I would get to see the summary of it over here under closed territory. Having finished this, I move to the next. I'm moving to the next directly because there's nothing to save here. So when I come to the next screen, I get to see call planning CPS Bank October to March. Now, before I get into explaining this, let me explain to you the variety of calls that you will have here, or the variety of customers you will have here. One is there where you're saying suspecting. Suspecting here would mean that you had suspected on this call, this particular customer, got all the details for this customer, and because of some reason not moved forward. Second is self-dropped. You went, met the client, you did suspecting, you met the client, and because either the client did not have the requirement, or the client had already got material equipment from some other competition, or because they did not feel the need at that particular time, you dropped the case. So this becomes a self-dropped case. If I go further down, you will see another type, which is here. If you see, it says prospect not qualified. This means the case was suspected, a prospect was made, but for some reason the prospect was not qualified and a prospect code was not generated. This does not mean that this client will never take products from us. This simply means that for that given point in time, the client did not have a requirement, or we did not think it was a priority case. Today, we can go back to this case and talk to him and see what is it that what his need is, and sell our product accordingly to him. So let's look at some of this. So when I look at this, I see Pulun Technologies India Private Limited. I know that I should be going and meeting this person. So I go in the month of October and I say I'm going to do a number of PR calls to this time. So 94.3 for some reason is twice. So I'm removing it twice. I'm just doing it once. One here. So I'm doing a number of, if you see, a PR calls here. However, some of them are absolutely ripe for doing presentation too. So I'm going to go to Pulon Technology and I'm going to do in the month of November, I'm going to understand their needs and do presentations for them. So I'm doing about 3 presentations to different levels of people, different people who are interested in my products within the company. It could be the head of IT, it could be the admin head, it could be the security officer. And then in the month of December, I do my calls for negotiation. In the month of January, my case closes, and I'm assuming that my check is also taken in the month of January. 360 Logicom is the place where I go in the month of November. I do my presentations. Month of December, I further do my presentations and start with my negotiation. I close the case in January, and the month of February, I pick up my check. Similarly, I go for others. So let me just feed in some data here. This particular case of AG clothing, I close in the month of December itself. AS Electronics is a hot case, and I managed to close it within 4 calls within the month of November. Whereas AA Plastics Private Limited, I know may take some time, and therefore maybe the presentations will only start in the month of December, and I start off with it January, February, and I close the case only in the month of March. Here, if you look at it, the Akriti Infrastructure Private Limited, I know that the client is not going to meet me in this month, and therefore I do not fix any call for him for the month of October. I start only in the month of November, where I start with presentations, and I take the case forward in the next couple of months. Having fed in the data as we did for other cases also, I will save and move forward from here also. So save and next. So as you see, here is my call summary. As we keep feeding in data, what you see is the total number of calls, the MOP, closed cases, closed territory cases, and the CPS bank which has come in here. What is mentioned over here is the balance number of cases. Now what is this balance number of cases? I still have to put in data for assigned cases. I still have the fresh cases that I will be meeting in the months of October, November, December to March, which will also come into the balance part of it. Let's take what's happening next. What I've done so far is done the CPS bank for the month of October to March, and now we'll move on to the assigned. I'm pressing next here and I move to the next one, that is assigned. Assigned are those calls which have been assigned to us. These have over and above the listed calls that have been given to us, or the listed customers that have been given to us, and we will work in the same way, exactly the same way, go through the CPS, understand who the client is, and accordingly fit in here from October to March the number of calls that we will do for each of the clients that has been mentioned over here. So let's do a couple of, just for example, let's do a couple here. So I say I will do a couple of PR calls. So KT Mechanicals, here I've done one, GS Industries, I'm doing, this is all I'm doing my PR calls. Then I come to the month of November and I say I'm going to start making my presentations. Having understood the need of the client, now I'm being able to position my products to them, and then I start getting into negotiations. So here I'm doing my negotiations or further presentations. Certain cases where I know that the client's requirement is larger, I'll probably do more presentations with them, but I decide accordingly, feed in my data. I save and move to the next. You notice at the same time the data has got totaled and accumulated here in the call summary. So you will always get to see the call summary and see the balance that is left. As I said earlier, the balance will be filled in as you move from the months October to March. You will be doing a number of fresh cases also. They'll also keep getting added to this. So I do save and next. What we see here is the call summary. And like I told you earlier, you will have all the details of the call in one place. You have been seeing it in every screen, but here you see the complete summary in front of you. Having seen the call summary, we will move to the next screen where I have with me the monthly presentation planner for the months October to March. In this particular screen, we'll see the months mentioned, and we have to mention for each one of the months the number of presentations that we will do. So let's take an example that I will do about 100 presentations in the month of October. November, I will do about 90 presentations. In the month of December, if you remember, we were going on leave. I'll do a comparatively lesser number of presentations, so I'll do 75. January, I again do about 100. February is again 100. And March, I was going on leave once again, and therefore I'm doing about 80 presentations here. I press save, next, and move on. On pressing save and next, I get here the details of the customers to whom I have to now go and make the presentation. Let's take one customer at a time. So let's take the first customer, that is Vishnu Products, and I press this. Look at the screen that has come in here. I get the details, the CPS details of Vishnu Products. The prospect code is here. Now comes the product category. If you remember, product categories have been divided into two different types of groups. So group 1 and group 2. So when I press down key here, I get to see the different product categories which are there, and I decide as to what is the next product that I am going to pitch to Vishnu Products. Let's assume that I have sold, let's assume, some standalone to them. Now I know that they have a small server. I want to sell to them a CQRS, that is a low pressure CQRS. So I click that and I say in the month of October, I will go and present the low pressure CQRS to them. Now that I've decided that, I will add this to grid. I take the next one. I say now that I'm presenting it to them in that is CQRS to them in the month of October, I will go and present, let's say, ceiling mounted to them in the next month. So I say FE ceiling mounted and I present that to them in the month of November. I add that to grid. Similarly, I can keep going on and saving these. So I'll take another example here. I'm going to sell CCTV, IP CCTV to them. And this will be done in the month of, let's say, December or January. Nothing in the month of December, but in the month of January. I add this also to grid. Having done this, I will save and move from this particular client. When I save and exit from here, I go into the next client. So I click the next client. When I come into the next client, I will repeat the same process once again. So I'm going to sell some accessories to them in the month of October. I add to grid. I will sell, let's say, a protective clothing industrial to them in the month of November. Add to grid, and so on and so forth. Let me save this and move on so that we can see what is the next that comes to us. Here I keep coming back to them, and you can see as we kept on adding the new product categories to the different customers that we had seen here, the list has been added on. So in the month of October, for a given prospect code, I have the information given that this is my prospect code, my CPS code, group 1, group 2, what am I selling to them? I save this and I move to the next screen. Having done this, having saved this, I move to the next screen. When I'm moving to the next screen, what I will see is that for each one of the months that I have planned just now, I have planned the two different groups, that means group 1, group 2 of the product. I will get to see two parts to each month. I will see October closed customer, what I have just planned, and I will also see October plan. This means that in the month of October, I had already planned for a client that I am going to be presenting, or rather I am going to propose accessories. But accessories is not only to be presented to one client. I may want to present accessories to more than one customer or one client. So here I will mention, that means under the plan, beyond the closed customer, how many different customers am I going to present the particular group or the particular product to? So let's say that I am going to present accessories apart from that one customer that I decided to 3 more customers. Similarly, CQRS low we had already taken into account. I am going to present CQRS low to another client or maybe 2 more clients. I have not presented a detection standalone to anybody in the month of October, but I would like to present this because this is a very lucrative product. I would like to present it to 5 different customers. Similarly, I will work this out for different months and decide what are the products that I am going to focus on for that given month. In certain cases, it will be decided by the fact that you had certain client and therefore you decide. For a given client, what is it that you're going to do? In certain cases, you will say that for this given month, I am going to concentrate on a group of products. And therefore, I will start selling maybe a new product. A new product has been launched. So I will start projecting that new product, presenting that new product to clients. Or I may also look at saying that for a particular client, this is what I'm going to sell. Both the things are taken care of by the 2 slides that you have just seen, or the 2 screens that you have just seen. Let's move further. When I move further, I get to see the next screen, which has the conversion plan. Which has a conversion plan here. Now when I see in conversion, what I already have is the MOP. Now MOP is 10, right? This is for the month of October. The MOP is 10. The value is 33.2. So 33 lakhs 0.2. Now what I will do is conversion from this MOP, and I say I should be able to convert 3 people or 3 customers here with the value of about, let's say, 4 lakhs. Now for the given month, what is it that I have? The fresh cases that I have. Let's say I do about 5 cases this time, and the value of this is about 3 lakhs. Conversion from FPG is, let's say, 2, and I am going to get 1.5 as far as value is concerned. This is 1.5 lakhs. I expect to drop 1, which is 0.5, or let's say 1 lakh. Now after having done this, I'll say add to grid, because I'm adding the month of October here. I say add to grid, and what I get is the MOP, the expected MOP for the month of the month of November, where it is MOP is 9. The value is 29.7 lakhs. I will again do the same. From the MOP, I'm expecting 2 to be closed. Of the value 2 lakhs, I'm expecting 5 new customers to be added, and I'm expecting 3 lakhs from them. Conversion from this should be, let's say, 2, where I'm going to get about 1.5 lakhs. I drop 1 with 1 lakh, and then I again add it to the grid. So similarly, you will do it for all the months, and when you finish doing the planning for all the months, you press save and next, and you move forward. It does not let me move forward. Why? Because I cannot move on unless I plan for all 6 months. So I say okay, and I go back. So month of December, 9 MOP 28.2, conversion is, let's say, 4 from this, where I get about let's say 8 lakhs. All right. My FPG is 6 with the value of 5 lakhs. I convert 3 with the value of, let's say, 3 lakhs. I drop 1 with the drop value of, let's say, 1 lakh, and I add to grid. My December is taken care of. Let's look at for the month of January. 7 MOP 21.2 lakhs. Conversion is, let's say, 4. I'm becoming better with every month, and my conversion total value is 3 lakhs. My FPG is, let's say, 9, and with a value of, let's say, 10. My conversion FPG number is, let's say, 5. With the total FPG conversion value of 4, I drop 1 with a value of, let's say, 1. I add to the grid. January is taken care of. My month of February comes in, where I say I convert 2 from this with a total value of 3 lakhs, let's say, or let's say not 3 lakhs, let's say 5 lakhs. My FPG number is 8 with the total value of 9 lakhs. I close. Let's take an example. Let's say we close. It's a very good month. I managed to close 5 with a total value of 5 lakhs. I drop 1 with a value of 1, and I add to grid. The last month, March, is there in front of me. Of the total number of 6 MOPs, I convert, let's say, 2 with a total value of, let's say, 3 lakhs. My FPG is 6 with a value of 7 lakhs. I close 3 with the value of 3 lakhs. I drop 1 with the value of 1 lakh, and I save. I have not added to grid, so I will need to first add this to grid. Now it has got done. Now I press save and next. When I press save and next, I should be able to see the complete grid, as you can see here. So if you see here, my complete prospect conversion plan is there in front of me over here. Here you can see the complete thing. Right? Now what I have here is my complete summary, which says summary from October to March for Sandeep Singh. Month of October, November, December, and up to March, all the calls planned, the presentations planned are given here. Prospect conversion is given here. So presentation plan, if you look at is product group wise. Your prospect conversion plan is basis the prospects that you've decided that you've thought you'll be able to convert. And then after having done this, I will now send this for approval. So I've sent it for approval to my boss, and successfully sent for approval to Mr. Dinesh Dubey. I press OK here, and I can come back to my main screen.